What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I am here for your preview of the Dolphins at Colts. So we are traveling to them. We are on the road for this game. It's at 1:30 West Coast time, 4:30 East Coast time. So we have it's 4:25, I think, is the actual game time. 4:25, 1:25 Pacific. They're doing well. The Colts are doing well. Real quick, though, before I get into that, I don't know how I could miss this in my last couple videos, but Zach Thomas is up for the Hall of Fame this year, so let's get him in. He definitely deserves it. You know, there's the whole talk about, oftentimes there's talk about, you know, comparisons between him and Brian Urlacher, who, you know, just made it into the Hall of Fame. And, you know, Urlacher is a really great linebacker, but, you know, I think, you know, his Zach Thomas's stats definitely speak for themselves and are certainly comparable, and, you know, I believe he's got, you know, better stats than Urlacher overall. And of course, you know, Zach Thomas was always said to be too small and not able to play the position, and he balled out. So let's get Zach Thomas in the Hall of Fame. He definitely deserves it. It's about time. With that, I'll go ahead and get into this game a little bit. Obviously, we didn't play this past week. We were on our bye. They played, who'd they play? They played the Titans, I believe, right? Who'd they play? Bear with me just a second. Who did they play? Pretty sure, yes, they played the Titans, and they destroyed the Titans, which is funny because the week before that, the Titans, like, kicked the shit out of the Patriots. Go figure, right? It's a weird thing. The NFL is weird, you know, and that's the thing, guys, is you never know what could happen. Anything can happen. So, anyway, the Colts have been playing well, though. Andrew Luck has been playing really well. As it stands right now, this is going to be a really big game because it is going to have some pretty major implications for the playoffs. We're both sitting at 5-5 right now, and you know, whoever comes out of this at 6-5 takes a big step forward to, you know, make it to the playoffs. So let's go ahead and get into these league standings actually, before I get into that, let me go ahead and give you the injury report, and then I'll get into the games, to our previous games played and the league standings and so on and so forth. So let's see. First thing is that I have here, left tackle Laramie Tunsil will be back in the starting lineup, so he is good to go. That's huge. So obviously we're getting Tannehill back. We already know that. That's huge. That's a major upgrade over Brock Osweiler, in my opinion. I've said it before, I'll say it again. His legs are better. His downfield accuracy is better. Everything about him, I think, is better. I think his decision making is better. I think his grit is better. I think everything about Ryan Tannehill is better than Brock Osweiler. So we get him back. Having Tunsil in there to guard his blind side is huge. He trusts Tunsil. Tunsil has not let up a sack the entire year. He hasn't had too many. He had some penalties earlier in the year, but he's cleaned that up. He's been doing phenomenal. So having him in there is amazing. And those two guys, having Tannehill and Tunsil back in there, drastically improves our chances. Right tackle Jawan James is listed as questionable. I believe he's going to play, though. I would expect him to play. I mean, he went back into that Green Bay game after coming out with, you know, the knee injury that he had, and he gritted out for the rest of the game. Well, now he's had 2 weeks to rest and rehab and get it right and stuff. He was practicing this week. I believe he was a bit limited, but they were practicing him. I would expect him to play, so that's good. Having our bookends in there is huge. Let's see, Jakeem Grant obviously is ruled out because he had the season-ending surgery on his lower leg. Let's see, Devon Godshaw popped up on the report. He's listed as questionable with a shin injury, but I'm pretty sure he's going to play. I don't think it's a big deal. There hasn't really been a whole lot made about it. Amendola was listed as questionable with a hamstring. AJ Derby with his, foot problem. Ted Larson with a neck. TJ McDonald with a knee. And Devontae Parker with a shoulder. I do expect all those people are going to play, though. Honestly, it's funny because I said in my last video, this is the most healthy we've been, obviously, since the beginning of the year. We just had our bye, and so on and so forth. And I feel like this is going to be, obviously, it's going to be, whoever is the most healthy. But I really think that for the most part, the team is healthy. So the inactives will be interesting to see tomorrow, but I think the inactives will just be, I think the decision for the inactives will be more, game plan, kind of things as opposed to health. I would think so. Charles Harris, by the way, is full go. He was taken off the injury report, so he's going to be back in the lineup, so that's good. We definitely need to get pressure on Andrew Luck, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see, Parker and Kenyon Drake both wore, red non-contact jerseys in practice. They were both a bit limited, but I do expect both of them to play. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill is playing. For the Colts, they've ruled out 4 players. They have ruled out 4 players. 3 of them are tight ends. So they're not going to have any tight ends for this game. But they still do have some, and in fact, their center as well. They're going to be missing their center. So that is going to be something that is going to be huge that we're going to want to watch. That is a key, it's a point of emphasis. So we'll have to see how their backup center does and whether or not we can get some push. Because like I said, one of the key things for this game is definitely going to be pressure on Andrew Luck. So let's see. They ruled out tight end Ryan Hewitt with an ankle, Eric Swoop with a knee, and tight end Mo Alley Cox with a calf, and center Ryan Kelly with a knee. So there you go. That's the injury report. So obviously everybody's a bit banged up. I think we're coming in about as healthy as we've been since the beginning of the year, so that's good. I think we stand a pretty good chance against this Colts team. Obviously, we're on the road. It is going to be tough. They have been playing really well, and we've just been, obviously, most notably, just been losing people seemingly every week. And, within that, I mean, there have been, breakdowns and, so on and so forth. So, but, I feel pretty strong that we are going to turn it around after this bye. I think the bye came at the perfect time. Excuse me, I spit at the camera. I think that we're going to turn it around. We are going to get back on track, and Ryan Tannehill is going to, take us. He's going to have a strong performance in these last 6 games, and he's going to take us to the playoffs. Anyway, so let me go ahead and get into this. League standings right now, as it stands. For offensive league standings, points per game, we're at 19.9. Obviously, that needs to change. I think that if we can score about 24 points per game average in these next 6 games, I think we can absolutely win 5 out of 6 of them, if not all 6 of them, honestly, and come away with a 10-6 or 11-5 record and make it to the playoffs. Anyway, so we are 19.9, which is 27th in the league. They are at 29.8, which is 5th in the league. So their offense has been doing really well. Their defense has been struggling a bit more. So hopefully that'll actually play to our strengths and advantages. Because I think that our defense has been the strength of this team. We still lead the league in interceptions and whatever. So, I think that if our defense, can not, they don't have to 100% shut down and neutralize, but if they can keep them in check, if they can keep this offense in check, get pressure on Andrew Luck, I think that our secondary, Bobby McCain's out of the concussion protocol, he'll be playing. I think that our secondary and our linebackers will be fine. Our defensive line's been getting healthier, and they've been performing better since they got those veteran defensive tackles. But the key thing, as far as the defense goes, is getting pressure on Andrew Luck. If we can get good pressure on Andrew Luck, if we can get a couple sacks, if we can disrupt his timing, flush him out of the pocket, we stand a really good chance of winning this game and, severely limiting the Colts offense. If we can do that, then I think that our offense with Tannehill back, getting all these guys healthy, we've brought in new receivers and stuff, so our receiving core is obviously going to be a little bit different, but AJ Derby's back healthy. Our tight ends should be able to contribute. We have they've been using Kalen Ballage more, so we have the trio of running backs. I think they'll perform well. And of course, like I said, we have our bookends back, so that should keep Tannehill upright and healthy for this game and able to do his thing, open up holes and so on and so forth. So I think we do stand a pretty good chance. Yards per game, we have 313.6, which is 28th. They're at 381. It's so funny though. You see that minor discrepancy goes from, we're at 28th with 313.6 yards per game. The Colts are 9th in the league right now with 381.5. So I mean, you have like a 68 yard difference, which is not that much. I mean, it is obviously like, on average per game, it's a pretty considerable distance, but in actual like numbers, it's obviously not that much or whatever. So, but it's funny because, we could pick it up, dude. We could definitely perform really well, in these last 6 games, well enough to get our entire offense and defense, our entire team back into the top half of the league statistically. So I mean, they're gonna have to play really well, obviously on both sides of the ball, and special teams is gonna have to continue to shine and stuff like that, but I think we can do it. So let's see, pass yards per game, we have 207.7, which is 26th. They're at 269.1, which is 10th. Rushing yards, we have 105.9, which is 21st, and they're at 112.4, which is 14th. See, that difference is even, much smaller. That's only a 7, yard difference, and it's 7 spots difference in the rankings. Defensive standings, you have points for points allowed, we're giving up 25.6, which is 22nd. They're giving up 24.9, which is 18th. So that's even smaller, and the difference is anyway. So yards allowed, 392.3 for us, which is 27th. 364.9 for them, which is 20th. Pass yards allowed, 250.3 for us, which is 19th, and 259.2, which is 23rd for them. Rush yards, we're giving up 142 per game, which is 30th, and 105.7, which is 14th. So there are going to be opportunities there, and we just got to take advantage of them. And see, and that's the thing though, is some of these past games, like in the Jets game, I think we could have, scored some touchdowns, a few touchdowns, if Brock Osweiler just didn't miss open receivers, just miss open players and stuff like that. And if he was able to actually use his legs to convert, short third downs that Ryan Tannehill would have been able to convert, right? Or in the Green Bay game, I think we could have won that game if Brock Osweiler wasn't just missing guys and a little pansy. Anyway, so I digress a little bit. Let's get into the stats from our previous games. Our last game against Green Bay, we had 294 total yards. Indy was at 397 for theirs against the Titans. Passing yards, we had 163. They had 295. We had 131 rushing. They had a 102. We were at 4.5 yards per play. They were at 6.6. We lost a fumble and threw an interception in our last game. They did not do either of those things. We were only 28% on third downs. See, and that's the thing. So that's what I was getting into before. There were several third downs in our game against the Packers that Tannehill would have converted it. Because it was either a wide open receiver that Brock Osweiler just missed that Tannehill would have hit, or there were probably 3 first downs that Tannehill would have got just with his legs. Anyway, Indy was 50% on third downs, so half. Time of possession, we ended up having the ball for 32 minutes and 8 seconds. They had it for 31 minutes and 16. So if we can hold the ball on offense longer, if we can have extended drives, keep Andrew Luck and their offense off the field, that'll obviously help. Penalty-wise, we only had 3. They had 7. Passing statistics, Brock Osweiler was 23 for 37, 62.2% completion percentage, 213 yards, no touchdowns with an interception, and a 66.6 passer rating. On the season, he's 63.5 completion percentage with 1,247 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and an 86 passer rating. So in comparison, though, Tannehill on the season, coming into this game, since his injuries, compares 65.9% completion percentage for 972 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions with a 92.9 passer rating. It's gonna be a major upgrade to have him in there. Andrew Luck was 23 of 29, 79.3% completion percentage, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions with a 143.8 passer rating. On the year, he's 67.3% completion percentage, 2,769 yards, 29 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a 101.8 passer rating. Rushing leaders for us, Frank Gore had 13 carries, 90 yards, and a 6.9 average. KD had 8 attempts with 27 yards and a 3.4 average. For them, Marlon Mack led the way with 16 rushes for 61 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 3.8 average. Jordan Wilkins had 4 rushes for 30 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 7.5 average. And Nyheim Hines had 5 rushes for 14 yards and a 2.8 average. Receiving, Danny Amendola led the way for us, 7 out of 10 for 72 yards. Devontae Parker was 5 of 11 for 43. Case Stills was 2 for 3, 26. Leonte Carew, 1 for 1, 20 yards. AJ Derby, 1 of 2 for 13. Frank Gore was 2 of 3 for 12. And Kenyon Drake had 2 catches on 2 targets for 11 yards. T.Y. Hilton led the way for them. He had a big game. 9 of 9 for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think they're probably going to shadow him with Xavier Howard. I would expect that, and I like that matchup. So I don't think T.Y. Hilton's going to have anywhere near the day that he had last time against the Titans, so that's good. Jack Doyle was 4 of 4 for 43. Dontrell Inman was 4 of 6 for 34 and a touchdown. Nyheim Hines was 1 of 3 for 20 yards. Ryan Grant was 2 of 3 for 15 yards, and Zach Pascal was 1 of 1 for 11. Defensive statistics, we only had 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. We had a fumble recovery, no interceptions. Sorry, I was about to say 4. I missed that on my stats. Forgot to change that. We had no interceptions and only 2 passes defensed. Indy had 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. No fumble recoveries though, but 2 interceptions and 3 passes defensed. So, like I've already said a little bit, guys, I mean, it's definitely going to be a tough game. Andrew Luck is a good quarterback, and they are playing really well. We are playing on the road, but we get a bunch of guys back. We are healthy, pretty healthy. We're pretty much full go. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes with this team and so on and so forth, but the biggest thing is that Tannehill's back. I think he's going to run this offense far more efficiently than Brock Osweiler did, and I think he's actually going to score points. I think the defense is going to keep them in check. I think that they're not going to have anywhere near as good a game. T.Y. Hilton's not going to have 9 catches for 152 yards. They're not going to score 38 points. And I think that we are going to come away with the victory. I think it'll be a pretty close victory. But I think we are going to steal this one and go to 6-5 on the season and keep making our push for the playoffs. I think it's going to be by a score of 24-21, 24-20, maybe something like that. I think it'll be a close game, but I think we will squeeze out the win. And look, man, that's the thing. If we come away with this victory tomorrow, we are looking pretty good because for the rest of the season, you know, I've talked about this a little bit, but we have a pretty good slate. You know, if we can come away with this victory, we'll be 6-5. Then we play the Bills. That's a home game for us. That should... I don't want to, you know, look at it from the perspective of like overlooking them, but realistically speaking, that should just be a win. So that would put us at 7-5. We'll be looking good. Then we play New England for the second time, but that is a home game for us. As I've said before, Brady is currently 7-9 when he comes down to Miami. They always have a hard time. They struggle there. We play so much better at home against them, and I think we're going to come away with that victory. So that would put us at 8-5. That would give the Patriots a loss. You know, we'll be, what, 4-1 within the division. So we'll be looking really good at that point. Then we have to go to Minnesota. That'll be a tough game, but that is a winnable game. Then we play Jacksonville. It's a home game for us. I think we're definitely going to win that one. And then Buffalo, we play at Buffalo, the final game of the season. Again, not to overlook them, but I think that's definitely a dub, man. And so I think that it is a very good possibility that we come away with 5 out of 6 of these games and, you know, make it to 10 wins and, you know, make it into the playoffs. So anyway, guys, with that, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you guys are as optimistic as me. Keep your heads up. Let's fight with the team. Let's back this team, you know, and I think good things are going to happen. So if you like my video, if you like the show, if you like what I got for you and the things that I got to present and say, hope you do. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want the alerts. Also, hit the like button. Leave questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys. You know, and follow me on Twitter as well, at Dillon Tartaro. You know, I tweet out during the games. I retweet, you know, stuff from, you know, the media, the writers, you know, like Pro Football Focus. I you know, put out their stats and stuff. I retweet their stats and stuff. So I do actively use it. So follow me on there. And I also, of course, post my videos on there as well. So you would get the alerts when I post my videos. Anyway, guys, with that said, I'm out of here. I will see y'all soon. Let's go get this W tomorrow, and fins up.